Good evening again, people of YouTube. We are the three middle-aged dudes just bullshitting about nothing. Once again, I am the Reverend.
The theme here.
Gray Mouse 1.
We're going to continue the Geek Weekend Review with a little bit of video game news. Release announcements for games have been put out over the last few weeks. In general, Capcom, actually, last week we put out a video saying that there was a rumor that Capcom was going to go ahead and announce Resident Evil 7 at E3 this year. Funny thing was that after we went ahead and we did that, basically a few days later, Capcom dropped a trailer for a new Resident Evil game. Surprisingly, it wasn't Resident Evil 7. It was Resident Evil Umbrella Corps, which is a multiplayer third-person shooter action game that is set to release out on the current consoles and on Steam. It was put out there, and there's a trailer that you can see for it, a gameplay trailer and all of that. And all I got to say is that it reminds me a lot of Operation Raccoon City. Thoughts, guys, on that?
I think with this, they're just trying to squeeze out any Resident Evil that they can because of the 20th anniversary. Maybe that's the case. But of course, this is not going to take place of 7, and it shouldn't.
It shouldn't.
7 should be its own game, its own entity, come out and be its original. But I think this is just to remind everybody that, hey, this is our 20th anniversary, and every incarnation of Resident Evil is just going to be coming out this year, and hey, go and buy it, buy our shit, and try to enjoy it. It may suck, but still, just play it and buy our shit, please. Buy our shit. Forgive us for no Resident Evils for a while and just buy our shit. Look, this is probably their ploy on the situation. If it comes out and it ends up being good, fine. As long as it doesn't have Kinect support or VR shit. But, I don't know. That's just my take on that.
Don't speak too soon on that, because I wouldn't be surprised. I
wouldn't be either, but I'm just...
with me, it's just, no. I understand. Okay, so they're trying to cash cow on one, the 20th anniversary of Resident Evil. 2, they're expecting to throw anything and everything out and expect people to buy it just because it's Resident Evil. And now there are those that do it. There are those that oh, that's Raccoon, or that's Resident Evil. I got to get that. But I just don't see it as a third-person shooter type of game. Resident Evil should have never been a third-person shooter. It's a horror survival game. For you to throw in elements like this, it's completely... You might as well just call it, I don't know, a Halo or a Gears of War. Come on, man. Whatever. No,
like I said, it's called Operation Raccoon City. And the reason why I said it reminds me of Umbrella Corps is because basically what I've seen from the trailer that they released out, it looks like you play as one of the special forces members under Umbrella's command to go in and clean up sections of Raccoon City. They,
we got plenty of zombie games to do that.
Yeah, and
need another one.
It looks like they learned from like the other multiplayer Resident Evil games that they have out there. It looks like you can actually sit there and shoot and strafe at the same time, because that was something that you couldn't do in Operation Raccoon City. Which was a running joke for a long, long time. And I don't know, unfortunately, even though I have the games, I haven't played through the Resident Evil Revelation games enough to see whether or not they fixed that already. But like I said, you can actually, strafe and shoot in this, which was a running joke for at least 5 years since Operation Raccoon City. But it's another it's another expansion to the IP that they've got out there, and I'm not expecting a lot, to say the least. If it works, that's fine. It says it's supposed to have a single player mode. I'll wait and see, because You know how Capcom's been with single player modes lately.
With arcade modes.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Any other thoughts on that?
No.
Okay.
Done.
Now, the funny thing about Umbrella Corps is that it seems that Capcom is very satisfied to go ahead and milk a certain Resident Evil franchise into the ground, just like another publisher, Square-Enix, is very happy to go ahead and milk Final Fantasy into the ground. I know Final Fantasy 15 is set to come out sometime soon, but they actually had announcements and they released out information on games that they own that aren't Final Fantasy. In fact, they released out some gameplay trailers for Dragon Quest Heroes 2 and Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness. That's got to be one of the more convoluted, nonsensical titles out there. But
what happened to Star Ocean 5?
I think this is Star Ocean 5, Integrity and Faithlessness. That's what it's being called.
Okay.
So, yeah, instead of
they just drop the number.
Or dropping the Roman numerals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe they're saving the Roman numerals for the Final Fantasy titles. I'm not sure. It's good to know that Square is putting out games that don't have the word Final Fantasy.
How do you put the word remake in Roman numerals?
R.
All right, there's no E in Roman numerals, man. There's an M, though. And a K.
Yeah.
But if you put, wait, Reverend, if you put R, then people will say Final Fantasy 7 Racing? Oh, fuck that. I'm not.
Well, yeah, that's you're so
all right. You already have Final Fantasy Racing. You want to know what it's called? Gran Turismo.
No, they put out a Chocobo racing game.
I know that, but it wasn't as shiny as Gran Turismo, so that's why I call it Gran Turismo Final Fantasy Racing.
Well, Final Fantasy 7, they had the gold saucer Chocobo racing, man.
No.
Anyway, so Final Fantasy FF15, we know it's coming. Remains to be seen if it's any good.
Right on your face.
Yep.
Neck and chest.
Star Ocean.
Big old gooey mess.
Jesus. Star Ocean. I'm happy there's another Star Ocean. It's a really good JRPG.
Took them long enough.
Huh? Yeah.
It took them long enough.
Yeah.
But it's good to let your franchises rest a bit and then come back unsuspectingly. I dig that. Just don't do that too long. Don't have too long of a fucking delay and people will actually stop caring.
Yeah. Wasn't there, speaking of that, wasn't there Final Fantasy Heroes? Wasn't that announced last year at E3?
No, World of Final Fantasy.
World of Final Fantasy. Yeah, that's on the 3DS, and that's already out, I believe.
Oh, is it? Okay.
What is?
World of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, the World of
Final Fantasy was going for the PS4 and the Vita.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was PS4.
All right.
PS4 and the Vita.
I must be thinking of something else then.
But anyway, so Dragon Quest Heroes 2. Can't say that I played the first one very much, but hey, you want to put another. Dragon Quest is one of those series that's been around for a long time. What was it called in Japan?
Dragon Quest, which is Dragon Warrior here.
Dragon Warrior, yeah.
Yeah, the Dragon Quest Heroes is actually they took some of the main characters from the earlier Dragon Quest games from I believe 8, 7. No, they took some of the main characters from the earlier Dragon Quest games and they put them together, and basically an action RPG kind of beat 'em up. Actually, if you think about it, it's Square. And it's Akira Toriyama doing the character designs. It's probably the most faithful thing to a spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger out there right now. Okay, if you think about it. Dragon Quest Heroes 2 is set to come out, I believe, later on this year or early next. It's going to be more of the same, but it looks like they've included, ever since Dragon Quest Monsters, which is kind of like the Dragon Quest version of Pokemon.
Yeah.
Looks like they've included some of the monsters gameplay where you can actually capture some of the monsters, and not just some of the monsters, but what they call the Goliaths, which are these giant fucking playable monsters, and you could actually take those monsters into fights and use them in boss battles and things like that. That right there looked pretty interesting. But I'll openly admit I haven't played a lot of Dragon Quest Heroes, or even some of the other ones that are out already. So I really can't put in too much input on this. But I look forward to it. It's available on the first one is available on Steam, and once it drops from $60, I'll probably get a hold of it. So, any other thoughts on that, folks?
Nope.